Hello, welcome to Doors to Hope and Healing, an inside look at foster care and adoption needs in Connecticut. My name is Jacqueline Ford. I am humbled and honored to have worked for the Department of Children and Families for over 25 years, and although I may be familiar with many of the topics I bring to you, I am inviting experts in those fields to share their knowledge. It is my hope that each week I can help to dispel those myths and misconceptions that often act as barriers to finding homes for Connecticut children. Together with my colleagues, we work tirelessly to create a statewide level of awareness of our need to find more foster and adoptive families, and once we do, we try to ensure that they are trained and supported timely. However, we know that our system is not perfect, and we look for ways to make the process more efficient. Joining me in the studio is Pam Kelly, a program manager, who will talk to us about an exciting event that will be held this spring in our state. Hi, Pam.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
Before we get into talking about this big, exciting event that we're having in March, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how long you've been with the agency?
Sure. I've been with the department for, just began my 32nd year, and I have come up through the ranks. I'm currently a program supervisor with the Foster Care and Adoption Services units, covering Middlesex County, New London County, and Windham County. But prior to that, I did investigation supervision. I was an in-home caseworker, and I also was a foster care worker in the field, licensing and recruiting and training families. So I've done a little bit of everything, and currently I'm doing program supervisory work, managing the foster care program for the 3 counties for Region 3.
And how many families do you have in Region 3?
Currently, we have 400 families, very exciting. And we have half foster care and adoption, and the other half are our kin families who care for relatives, kids who are known to them, and kids who come from out of state who are have relatives living here who want to be cared for by relatives. So we have 400 homes, 200 core homes, and then we have another 186 kin and fictive kin homes. So pretty evenly split, so very excited about that.
That is very exciting.
Very exciting.
We've had previous shows that we talked about foster care and adoption and the whole process and how you become involved. Is there a magic number that you're looking to reach in your region of the state where you feel that would be, the kids would be best served with a certain number of families?
You know, I would love to get to a point in our state where we would never need out-of-home care. But there is no magic number. What we're really looking for is to increase our pool of homes so that we can match children and their needs to families who can meet those needs, rather than having a smaller pool where today we only have this home available. So I would like to see another maybe 75 homes overall in our region that would help us do matching rather than just home finding for kids. That's important to me. Having enough resources so that kids can be matched to families who meet their needs is more important. But there is no magic number, just we need a lot more.
Can you talk a little bit about the matching, what you mean when you say matching with the best family possible?
Right, we match ages, we match sex, we match their needs, the children's needs, to the family who can best meet those needs. If they've got mental health or behavioral health challenges, and they need a stay-at-home parent to help with after-school activities, we look to match them to that type of family. And if we have infants, we want a stay-at-home parent rather than a parent who has to go to work because that child might have a trauma history and needs a stay-at-home parent, needs that consistent caregiver every day, all the time, and daycare doesn't always help us with that. So, but the matching, we try to match the kids' needs to the families and who can meet the kids' needs. We try to find families who can meet our kids' needs, not the other way around. We're not here to meet families' needs.
Right.
So we do that.
Tell me a little bit about your training curriculum, your traditional training curriculum.
The state uses TIPS MAPS, which is a trauma-informed parent preparation training, which is a 10-week session, 3 hours over the course of 10 weeks. And what that does is it helps families understand, are they ready? Is their family ready? Are their kids ready? Is their community network, their support network, their school network, their church network ready for them to be a foster parent or an adoptive parent and care for kids who have trauma histories and come with some challenges? And TIPS MAPS helps families prepare their network to care for our kids. So that's a 10-week session. It talks about working with birth parents. It talks about grief and loss, being loss experts. It talks about trauma. So there's a lot of topics that help families understand the types of families our children come from, and also the types of kids that need care. But there's also a lot of road work and a lot of at-home work and thought and writings and assessing your need and where you think your areas of need are and what your strengths are. And we talk all about that. And that's the traditional training. And it gives the families who go through the 10-week, usually with about 25 other people, 12 to 15 families, it gives them an opportunity to develop a relationship, a bond, that own fostering network. Because a lot of, you prepare your own family, but when you are celebrating a child who cried every day because they didn't want to get up and go to school because they had such an awful school experience when they were living at home with their parents, and that one day they go to school and they're not crying and they're not arguing, and you're excited about that, and you tell yourself, they're like, oh, okay. But if you call another foster parent, they'll be like right there with you.
They get it.
Woo-hoo,
Yeah,
they get it.
it.
So that 10 weeks helps you build that bond, and that's so important. Connecting with other people who are going to walk that same path with you. That's important for us. So that's what our traditional training helps them with.
And do you find that, people may think they have the heart and the time to do this, but they get into the training and they feel that this isn't for us. Do you find that during a certain module that information is shared with you by that family and they may drop out? Or do you find that the people that start the training are pretty consistently able to stay those weeks?
I think that we have both. We have families who come after the first or second week when they start hearing about their birth parent involvement and the connections kids have to their birth families. They might decide, oh, I'm not sure this isn't really for me. And we talk to them about other options, maybe mentoring. Maybe you can be licensed as just a respite provider, where a child comes for the weekend or for a week or so while that foster family that's caring for them full time needs a break, or is going on vacation or doing something that they need help with. Or maybe you're available during the day when a child is like an emergency placement, and they're going to come the night and they're going to leave the next day. So there's a lot of other options we talk to them about.
That's great.
But there's no one week that they say, oh, this isn't for me. And we have families who go through the whole 10 weeks, and during the licensing, they're like, you know what, we've decided this isn't right for us, and we're going to think about it a little bit more, and then we'll come back, which is fine. You've taken the training. When you're ready and your family's ready and your support network is ready, we're there for you. We'll have you come right back.
Right. That's great. That's good to know. So I know that you have some big event coming up in the spring.
Right.
It's a learning forum.
Correct.
That's going to try something new to get families licensed in Connecticut. And
right.
I know I have a small role in that, and I'm very, very impressed by your region and all the work that you're doing. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, we have a learning forum. It's like a compressed weekend where it's a lot of training over the course of a Friday night, all day Saturday night, all day Sunday, and ends about Sunday right just before dinner. And families come, they stay the weekend, and they are immersed in the learning about the types of kids we care for, the types of families we work with, the expectations that we have of them, and how they think that their families are going to be ready and prepared, and how, when they are done with that learning forum weekend, what work do they need to now take home and work with their families while we get them licensed. So we're looking to compress the licensing time frame. It's not for every family. Some families really need that 10-week time to get everybody ready. If they have multiple kids, that they've got to really share the information of every session with them and make sure that they're on board. And then there's other families that one of the biggest cohorts, one of the biggest groups we're targeting are families who are caring for their relatives and kids that are known to them through our through our kin program, saying to them, they say to us all the time, I just can't commit to 10 weeks. I've got this, I'm caring for my grandson, and he's into everything. He's into boxing, he's into football. I just don't have the time. But we say to them, can you do this week? And they're like, yeah, I think I can. Can't bring your kids, but we'll make arrangements. And I'm like, fine. So it is a compressed training weekend. And then the plan is to then get families licensed within 90 days. They have to do a lot of work on the front end. Families have to do a lot of work, do a lot of preparation, commit to the whole weekend, have to live in our region, have to live in New London, Wyndham, or Middlesex County, have to be do some pre-screening, some pre-work, and if they meet the criteria and if there's room, we would invite them to the weekend. Again, they come to the host site and they stay the weekend. They show up on Friday at 3 and we say goodbye to them on Sunday at 4, and we're in there together.
Can you talk about some of the work they'll do on the front end?
Yeah, they're going to do a lot of, they'll help us with their background checks. They'll be fingerprinted. They'll get their medical statements from their physicians that they're in good health. We'll talk a lot about, are you ready? Is your family ready? This is what you need to be talking about. If they have a pool, we'll show them how to get it inspected. If they have a wood stove or an auxiliary heating system, got to talk to your town about inspections. We'll test their well water. We'll do a lot of that prep work that is often done on the backside. And you've just got to be ready. And there's a lot of road work, which is really homework, but a term we use is road work that they're going to do that weekend. And then they have to commit because it doesn't meet the criteria. Our pre-licensing criteria is 30 hours. This gives us about 19 or 20. They have to commit to online and other in-person trainings over the course of the next 90 days to get to that 30 pre-licensing number. And we've got a list of online things that they're required to take. We're asking them to look at CPR because that's a requirement. You could do that ahead of time. That would count. So there's a lot of stuff we're helping them with, giving them great ideas, but really helping them, hey, look, this is what we're doing. Get your family ready, and this is what you need to do that. So. And
then the post work will entail what?
Then it would be finishing up what they didn't get, doing multiple licensing home visits with all the applicants and their household members and any other household members with their kids, and then doing the educational statements for their kids, making sure that the medical statements are on board, and just making sure that, this is what we need. Can you help us? And if you can't, what are you looking to foster or adopt? And that's and then we'll be writing the study and ready to roll.
And that 90 days will afford your staff the opportunity to write the studies and license them.
And to go out and do those home visits and that in-depth assessment, because when you write what we call your family profile, your own personal history, you answer a bunch of questions, and it helps our staff. If you have a history of your own of trauma, we just talk about, okay, what was it? How'd you resolve it? These are some triggers you might want to think about if this might impact that. You're functioning now, and you did your work, you went to therapy, you did whatever. Our kids being there might trigger something. Just, hey, this is what you want to pay attention to. So we look at what you write, we talk about it, and we make sure that, again, you're aware. We want you to be aware of what could also impact your own family. Kids leave, it's going to make your kids sad if they've been there a while. These are the things that we can offer. We've got part of the weekend is also a provider fair where the adoption assistance program is going to come. Our caregiver support teams will be there. Some of our therapeutic foster care agencies will be there. So they'll also get a sense of, I'm going to be a foster parent, but this is the support network that's available to me and the services, and meet those folks and ask questions and get information. So we're trying to prepare them very compressed. Some nights I think not only will my head explode, but theirs will also. But I think that there's also a lot of opportunity for interaction, questions being answered, and side conversations if you're not comfortable talking in a group. We're going to have everyone available online, ready to roll.
So I had the pleasure of being at the venue last week. Tell me what's going to happen. What's the weekend going to look like?
Excuse me. One of the most exciting things that we had when we started to talk to different venues to say, hey, would you be interested in helping us do this at a cost that's not prohibitive? I've got to say that a venue, the Norwich Inn and Spa in Norwich, stepped up, has a brand new general manager who has really made it his mission as a new manager to be a community stakeholder. And he is really working with us to keep the costs down, making sure our families are going to be treated with the respect and the patience and pampering that they're going to need for this lots of learning weekend. And they've done a great job. That Norwich Inn and Spa has a reputation of being a little bit kind of exclusive, but he's like, that's not what we are. We are a great facility. We really want to be community partners, and they have really worked hard to make this work with us. And what the weekend looks like is Friday night coming in around dinner, having a training, having some keynote speakers, doing a short training about working with the department, kind of what fostering looks like, what's expected, next steps. Then all day Saturday and all day Sunday, and even Saturday night, there'll be trainings on topics such as working with birth parents, working as a team member, trauma. There's 2 sessions on trauma. There's how to be a grief and loss, attachment and separation, and there's lots of different topics, and they'll be throughout the day. So there'll be trainings, the same training run at the same time, but in 2 different rooms. So we're going to
breakout sessions.
Yeah, we're going to kind of break the groups up into Norwich families and Willimantic families, so they can also bond. And then we'll spread out the Middletown families and some of our partner agencies that have families that live in our area that are coming, and they'll just kind of join the 2 major groups. But it's really coming, having dinner, learning, waking up, having breakfast, learning, having lunch, learning, having dinner, learning, go to bed, wake up, eat, learn, and it is a lot of learning. It is exhausting, but the families we've spoken to are just so excited and thankful that this is an opportunity that they could not fit 10 weeks into their lives, their busy lives, or just the way the families work opposite shifts, so one of them can always be home with their child. They're just thankful that they have the opportunity to do this compressed learning and are on board with the independence that they're going to need to get that other portion of the training done. So I'm excited for them.
So why did you do this? Did someone inspire you with this idea? How did you learn about that this is even a possibility to?
Well, we work closely with our partners in Rhode Island because they're doing a lot of work that we've already done. They were a little bit ahead of them just because of some of the work that our commissioner Katz had really pushed with the family teaming and the kinship work, and really they look to us as kind of their model and their and some guidance. So they did this because they were in a situation where a lot of kids were living night to night to night. And they decided that, you know what, let's just do this. And they did a whole statewide shout out, and they had like 200 families show up, 175 actually come. They
Wow.
did the whole weekend. Their private agencies do their licensing, and they were able to get like 50 to 75 families online relatively quickly as a resource for kids, which is what we need. So we looked to them on how to do it. We took a lot of lessons learned from them that they were like, keep it smaller, 200's too many, 200 families too many. It's just do this, think about that, do this. Maybe you want to think about that. So we've really used them as a, hey, what do you think? And they're like, that's a great idea. So we've taken lessons learned, and we were lucky enough that we had support from our regional administrators and also the statewide people that allowed us to go ahead and try this, and let's see how it goes. So,
and your trainers for the weekend will be from your 3 different areas of the state that you cover?
It will be from our 3 different offices. Some of our statewide partners, our therapeutic foster care agencies, are also sharing in some of the training. We have some families who are our co-leaders anyway. They train with us on the regular 10 weeks. They're welcome to join. We have some of the other regional offices offering staff, some of our central office staff. I think our Rhode Island friend will come.
Yes.
So I'm very excited that people are coming from all over. And that's also important, not only to help lessen the burden of the compressed training, but also so that if they're going to try to replicate it at some point, important for them to see how it's working. And again, lessons learned, what works, what doesn't work. And that's really, really important.
What is the next step? Do you think that other regions throughout the state will try to mirror this?
I'm hoping. One of the things that we are doing, and we agreed to do when we put forward this process and got it approved, was that we agreed that we would put together a project book. So we hold our weekly calls just to make sure everybody's on board with the planning. We keep very good notes. We've got a budget. We've got the pre-surveys, the post-surveys, how we're going to follow the group going forward, making sure that all the forms are on board and the families are prepared the same. So we're doing a lot of pre-work in regards to that. So I'm very excited.
And if all goes well, are you looking to do this again in your region?
We are. We would love to try to do it again sometime in beginning to mid-September if it works. If our project work, if this works, and we have not just said, oh my God, what did we do? We would try to replicate it again in the fall. And I'm hoping that with the project book, anyone in the state can take it and run with it. And it, you know, and look at costs, and they'll have a rough idea of what it would cost.
Was the response from the waiting families, were they very interested in this? Do you have a waiting list?
We have families who are very interested in, other ones who are like, yeah, I'm going to stick with the 10 weeks, just because it fits better for them. But we also have a large group of kin families who are going to change over, and we have a lot of families who have come through the process, because we're always actively recruiting. This is an option. We run our regular traditional 10-week trainings 4 times every quarter. So as a matter of fact, in January and February in the region, in the 3 counties, there's 4 starting in January and February. Those aren't stopping. We're continuing to run them in 4 in right now. We'll probably start another 4 in April or May. Those are ongoing. We have that scheduled out to the end of the year. Those are always ongoing. This is just an option, one-time option right now for a compressed learning forum for those families who can't fit the traditional time in. And the response has been, I've been wanting to do this, and finally there's an option for me, because I work 3rd shift, but I can get a weekend off, but I can't get 10 Thursdays off. So it's working for us.
And I know in my experience in working with families who are interested, sometimes it's just that barrier of the husband works nights and he's not able to participate in the training. So this really is, it's unprecedented. It's so exciting.
Very exciting.
I'm so happy for you, and I hope everything goes well.
It will.
For the viewers watching us today, if someone is interested in being a foster adoptive parent, what's the first step?
They should call the Kid Hero line through KFAF, our Connecticut Alliance of Foster and Adoptive Families. They 866 Kid Hero, and that's the first step. Regardless if you're interested in this weekend, if there's room, or even in the future, if you want to just come to an informational meeting, they'll send you information about our local open houses or statewide open houses that fit your need. And then once they come to an open house, then we begin our kind of assessment process, mutual assessment process with them. So it is just a matter of, if you're interested, ever thought about it, other than thinking about it, taking steps to just attend an informational meeting. You're not signing anything. Make the call, get the information, and see if it fits your family. If it doesn't, if full-time care of another person's child doesn't fit your lifestyle, we have mentoring, we have emergency placement needs, we have respite needs, we have short-term foster care, we have adoption, we have the continuum of need. It's just
come learn about it.
Come learn about it. Right.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being
You're
on
welcome.
today. And now I'd like to introduce you to 3 adorable children whose love and connection for one another is so evident. This brother and his sisters are hoping to find their adoptive family. Please meet Bradley, Brianna, and Brittany.
Perfect.
If we made a movie together, we would make Wizard of Oz. We all like the movie
Peter Rabbit because it's funny. Peter Pan. It's a really good movie. I would be Wendy.
You would be Peter Pan.
My perfect day would be I would have a few play days and then have a sleepover. My favorite thing to do during free time is play music, draw, or read. I like playing the guitar because it's fun and you can make it louder by an amp, and it's just fun to play. My favorite thing is to watch a movie with my family because we're all together and it feels good to me.
When I grow up, I want to be a teacher, and I would teach preschool or kindergarten.
I want to be a veterinarian and a zookeeper. The nicest thing anybody ever said to me was that you are a kind friend.
It's important that a family knows that their child loves them.
That they should take good care. I would like to stay in touch with my school and my auntie, uncle, and my grandma and papa.
I would like to have a mom and a dad, and I would like to stay with my brother and sisters.
I want most from my family is love.